Welcome to the show that teaches you the things your parents and teachers are too afraid to, the Heliosblog. Today, Andrew Tate viciously attacked by Piers Morgan. Let's get into it.
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
Together, it's the most beautiful force on the planet. I believe in family. I believe in children. I believe in...
If you believe in family and children and love, why are you single?
Publicly single.
I'm not single.
Well, you're not married. That's what I mean.
Well, if I was married, the last thing I would do is advertise it to the feral psychopaths on the internet.
Indeed.
So
I'm not a feral psychopath.
Well,
You call me
No, but he has a ton of viewers. There's a huge audience, right?
friend earlier.
can be debated, Piers. But the point I'm making as a whole is that all of these...
Do you want to get married is my point.
No, but let's please for a second.
You don't or you do?
Let's please for a second, because you've interrupted me so many times I've failed to...
Well, actually, I've only interrupted you, just to be clear, when you...
I've only interrupted you 50 times.
actually answered a different question.
Cool. Well, then on all these points you're
And
making...
you've admitted that.
On all these points you're making, on repeat, you're taking these sentences and on repeat you're using you're weaponizing them against me.
I'm not weaponizing anything.
Okay, it's fine.
No. You're weaponizing the weaponizing, which doesn't exist.
No problem. But
you said to me, come on, bring it on, read out all the things that you think are blatant misogyny. All I've done is literally read out all the things we identified from all the research that I thought were blatantly misogynist.
Understood.
And giving you the chance to respond. And the only time I've interrupted you is when you've tried to answer a completely different question.
Understood, Piers. But these things were said in large context where often I'm talking about how, for example, on the same podcast where you've read one of them sentences from, I was talking about how it's a man's duty to die by a woman. And the guy asked me, he said, if 10 men with knives attacked your woman, wouldn't you just... I said, yeah, I'd stand and die. I'd never just run away because I have a duty as a man. I must die on the spot to protect her honor and my honor. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about a man having responsibility to his duties. I'm talking about the old traditional ways of masculinity. And what happens is a few sentences from such a long conversation is taken and used against me.
I understand that.
So I want you to understand that I'm talking about protecting and providing for women. I'm talking about a man making sure...
Do you want to get married?
No, but this is we have to all feed into each other, Piers. I'm talking about protecting.
It's not a hard question.
No, but
Okay, come on. Let him finish his point, and then he's going to answer your point.
I'm talking about protecting and providing for a woman. I'm talking about a man being responsible for her safety.
I understand.
So of course I believe in men and women. Of course I believe in love. Of course I believe in marriage. Of course I believe in family.
No, but none
the
of that
idea
was my
that I don't believe in
Andrew,
the idea that I don't believe in these things
I
is
didn't
crazy.
ask you if you believed in it. I asked you if you're going to get married.
One day, absolutely.
You'd like to.
If I'm not married already, I will be married one day. If I'm not.
Well, you might.
Again, if I've heard the rumors correctly, because you know, if you listen to a person long enough, they give hints, right? If I remember the rumors correctly, he actually is married and actually has 1 or 2 children. If I remember correctly, he just works very hard to keep them out of the spotlight.
Might be secretly married.
I could be married, correct.
Why would you not tell me either way?
Why would I advertise to the feral psychopaths of the world who have tried their very best to destroy me for an opinion about my private life and the things that are most sacred to me? Why would I do that?
Exactly. Indeed.
If you said you were married, everyone would hate you.
I don't know about people hate me. It's about me understanding that I'm a hard target, but I am very, very protective of the people I care about.
Right. But you believe in the concept of marriage.
Completely. That's what we were talking about the whole time.
What do you think?
We talked about a man giving a woman away.
Okay.
I believe in marriage more than anybody. In
here's
fact,
my-
I believe in marriage in... No, please.
Okay.
I believe in marriage in the traditional sense. I believe a man has a duty to stand up and be a real man. I believe that the problem with the world today that we are facing is that not enough men are sticking to the age-old ways of masculinity. Mm-hmm. I believe that me standing up and saying a man must protect a woman and provide for her, so he needs to make sure that she's safe. He needs a degree of authority to
I
protect her.
have no problem with...
But people do have a problem with it.
I'm not... Sorry.
And that's the world we're in now.
Andrew, I'm over here.
Yeah, people have a problem with men having authority in addition to responsibility. It's absolutely true. Like, so the idea is this: men should have responsibility over women, but zero authority, no chance to modify behavior, no chance to tell the girl what she needs to and needs not to be doing. But authority without responsibility is slavery, right? you are forced to do something and be responsible for it, but you have no say in what is actually done, what actually happens. Well, the old system is the man is in charge of the woman, and so not only is he responsible for her protection and provisioning and so on, but he's also has the authority to tell her what she needs to be doing and what she needs not to be doing. It's captain and first mate. It's not captain and captain. If there's two captains, there's always only one captain. There's no such thing as co-captains.
Sure.
I don't have a problem with what you just said. Here's where my problem comes, right? There are a lot of clips of you floating around on the internet, as you know. One of them has you saying, bang out the machete, boom in her face, grip her by the neck, shut up, bitch. In another, you say, slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex. When people see those clips and hear you say...
Okay, but that's not actually... Again, that it's questionable whether that's actually misogyny, right? Like, whether that's actually hating women. Some girls, during bedroom fun, they love to be dominated like that. So that's not necessarily hating women, right? Again, not all women like that. Strong, independent women don't like that. Well, even some of them do, right? So again, what you do in the bedroom is different than how the dynamic works outside of the bedroom. Like, in the bedroom, if you're, throwing the girl around a bit, it's a little bit like wrestling, it's like, how would I describe it? Like, what's the best way for me to describe this? It's very animalistic, right? You're not really your frontal lobe and your logic and reason, when you're in the bed, throwing the girl around, having bedroom fun, aggressively or whatever. But that isn't to say that you throw her around and are aggressive in the rest of your life. Like, again, it's a dichotomy. Some girls like that sort of bedroom fun, and some men do too. It doesn't mean that you also do that outside of the bedroom. Like, that isn't hating women to have a specific style of bedroom fun. Like, again, focusing on that aspect specifically, I'm not sure that actually is against women. Again, maybe some women wouldn't like that. Or, if you go up to 100 women on the street and ask them, would you want this done to you in the bedroom? They'll go, how dare you? Heavens no, right? But 35% of them would actually want it. They just can't say it on camera, right? Again, I'm not sure that that's actually hating women. Now, that doesn't mean I condone hitting, slapping the girl, showing your dominance to get her to do what you want. But those are two different things, right? Bedroom fun is an agreed upon activity. And you're choosing to do it in a bit more aggressive way than the average person, maybe, right? That isn't hating on her, because again, it would be an agreement that you have beforehand. And whether you talk about it in words or in non-verbal communication is neither here nor there, right? Because we all know 85% of communication is non-verbal, right? You can tell if the girl is comfortable or not. You can tell by her body language, even during bedroom fun, if she likes to be treated a bit more aggressively or not. Again, that's not necessarily, like, I fail to see how that's hating women, like what Piers is saying. I disagree.
Those things.
Agreed.
Well, I don't think that it's not hard to misunderstand it.
It is.
You might say that it's consensual. Other people would say, whether it's consensual or not, that's a very ugly way to talk about women.
Completely. Now let's
hitting them with machetes.
No, watch the whole video. It's a girl coming at me with a machete and me saying, here, slap the machete out of her hand. She's attacking me. So you don't understand. This is the exact point.
I do understand.
No, people don't watch them in full. And this is actually what's interesting. And please don't interrupt me on this point. Social media has changed in modern times. YouTube 5 years ago was 5, 6, 7, 8 minute long videos. Now we have TikTok, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, YouTube shorts, Instagram stories. Now anything you produce that's long form is cut down to very, very short form. They're interested in clicks, they're interested in engagement.
Of course.
They find
But
the
you
most
benefited from all
they
that.
find the most controversial clips they can
And Andrew,
on purpose.
You benefited from all that.
Everybody benefits.
Yeah, so did you. Like, it's a disingenuous talking point, right? To say, oh, but you've benefited. Well, so have you. You've benefited from taking crap out of context and making the guy seem like he's evil. Like, yeah, and again, what's funny is what Andrew is saying is slap the machete out of the girl's hand. The implication is what? Is that it's dominance. It's even when you have a weapon, I'm still stronger than you. I'm still better than you. I am your superior, which is what girls want. That they want an alpha male, a man who's superior to them in every way. That's what Andrew's talking about. That isn't hating women. That is acknowledging women's nature, which is hypergamy.
It's from social media views, as do you.
Was it the Hustler? What is it
I had an online school
called?
Hustlers University.
Right. And their whole job was to promote your clips, make you rich and famous. So you've benefited from this system, the one you now profess to hate. You've benefited from
I
all
never
that.
said I hated
You've
it.
clickbaited like the best of them.
I never said I hated it. I'm saying what happened. I don't hate it. I don't hate social media. I think it's a very powerful force. I don't hate the social media. I'm saying
The point is, I think you can talk, look, you can talk to girlfriends of yours, maybe a secret wife, I don't know. It's entirely up
Or
to you.
two.
Or two. You maybe got 10 wives, that's your business. I don't care, right? My only thing is, I don't care what you do in private. If it's consensual between you and another woman, you can do what you like, right? It's your life. I believe in freedom and liberty. It's when you say it in public, it's the influence that this kind of thing has on young men.
Agreed.
Well, indeed. And that's the point. The point is, men cannot say whatever they want. And the truth is, they never could, right? In the honor system, you insult a guy's honor, well, that's going to be a shooting match, right? It's going to be a duel, or it's going to be a sword fighting match, or it's going to be a wrestle, or, you know, it's going to be a brawl. Like, you can't just say whatever you want. But the problem is, men have fallen into this frame of you have to be nice, you have to be like a girl, right? You have to be agreeable at all times and gentle and all that. But what's funny is that girls never tell you this. They want the man that can dominate other men, beat them up, throw them out the window. They want that man to be gentle, not you, the average loser. And if you are an average loser, guys listening, that's okay. Every single man you see that is strong and dominant and confident started off as an average loser. In fact, they all started off as below average losers. The point is, you need to work at it constantly to be competitive and strong and better than the average man. That is what it's actually about. So, they want the dominant man, the top man, Chad, to be gentle and kind and nice and treat him lovey-dovey. But the second that guy comes running in the door with weapon drawn, that same lovey-dovey nice guy leaps into action and throws him out the window. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the point. Tarzan, Hercules, not Achilles, not Dad Bod Tom.
Right, and I speak to someone with 3 sons, right? It's who are, by the way, they're intrigued by you, they're fascinated, right? You're a big thing in that world of TikTok and so on. So they all are aware of you and what you say, so they're all looking. And when they see things like the machete thing, I get the context, because I'm a 57-year-old guy who's been around the block a bit, and I can get what you said, and you responding to a particular scenario which you'd created where a woman...
But it can be misunderstood.
I understand. So my point to you is, given that you know it can be misunderstood, do you regret saying things like this on camera where it can be disseminated by less intelligent young males?
Well, the point is that those less intelligent young males need to invest the time to become intelligent young males. And they need to hear these things. They can't be shielded from the truths of the world. right? And that's what people are trying to do. And ultimately, shielding young men from the truths of the world, all it does is pull the wool over their eyes. They don't know the truth. They don't know what they're actually supposed to be doing. They're lost. They're blind. And they're blind because people choose to do nothing. They choose to let these boys fall by the wayside. They give them all this terrible advice. No, never fight. Yeah, and always be a nice guy. Be nice and gentle and repress that masculinity. Never ever use it. When the truth is, you need to be able to literally kill other men in order to be attractive. I mean, historically, that was what was needed, right? Historically. Nowadays, I guess maybe not, right? But women are still biologically hardwired to want that man. And not scrawny beta Tom in the corner who cowers when a guy with big muscles walks in the room.
Who think that is actually what they should be doing to women.
And finally, we get to the point of the issue, which is the point I tried to make at the very beginning. When I made a video before I was famous that got 500 views, me being concerned that 1% of people will misunderstand it was not relevant. Where you start getting 5 million views a video, 50 million views a video, 1% of people misunderstanding
Doesn't change what
no, it doesn't. But it becomes a much larger problem.
I understand.
So with great fame comes great responsibility.
Right.
So
I agree.
Would I, now that I'm famous,
yes.
do I say things the same way as I did back before I was famous? Absolutely not.
Right.
As neither would you or nearly any other famous person on the planet.
So
once you become famous, you have to be a lot more careful with how you say things.
I understand. So my logical follow-up to that remains, do you regret then saying it the way you said it?
I can't live in regret by saying something before I was famous on a camera which barely anybody watched, and then I became famous afterwards. That would be a very asinine way to view the world.
Do you stand by all those things?
I can't live in regret because I didn't know I was going to become the most famous man on the planet. That regret would be the wrong word. Is it inconvenient? Sure. But I can't sit here and say, I wish I knew 6 years ago I'd be the most famous man on the planet and monitored all of my speech forever. That's asinine.
You see, but one of the problems that people have with you is that they think you have a malevolent influence on young people. This was the excuse.
Again, who thinks that? Womanists, wokeists think that. Not everybody thinks that. Only the people that want the men to be blind. Because boys become men. Men become the leaders of the world. If they're blind, then they're useful idiots. And that's what ultimately these, I don't even know, right? Like people say, they have different theories, right? Globalists, wokeists, capitalist oligarchs, whatever you want to name as the malevolent force. Basically, the powers that be, right? They don't want young men to know the truth, right? And they don't want young men to know the truth because if they know the truth, then they actually have power. And the thing is, if you're powerless and weak, you're a sheep. Sheep are easy to control. You just put a dog nearby and they run away. That's it. Now, wild horses are a little bit harder to tame, right? Or whatever. An animal that can't be tamed. A bear, right? Some, maybe. 1 in 1,000 bears can be tamed. You see? Tiger. And that's the point. You need to learn, men, to be a tiger, a lion, a bear, not little sheep. And that's what people like Andrew ultimately inspire, right? They inspire that. Know the truth and be free. Now, again, Andrew doesn't care about you. He cares about himself. He's a narcissist, right? He doesn't care about you. He did it for his own goals, his own aim, right? But that doesn't mean that the message is wrong, right? Knowing that you need to be strong, dominant, confident, charismatic, powerful, useful, and provide value to the group and to yourself and ultimately to your wife and children. This is not a shameful thing. And yet, that's why he's being vilified, right? Because he's encouraging the values that literally everyone had 100 years ago. And that is not an exaggeration. But now it's a womanist, wokeist, society where you can't say men should be strong, dominant, and in charge because, you know, the hens get mad. But ultimately, they can't protect you if the power goes out. You can, but only if you're strong. If you're a weakling, when the power goes out, you're as weak as the average woman. I mean, you're stronger than the average woman, even if you've never trained in your life, but you get what I'm saying. You don't have the tools to actually protect yourself, should you need to. And that's the point. They didn't want that. They didn't want you to be in charge of your own destiny. They didn't want you to be able to protect yourself. They didn't want you to be able to be in charge. They want you to be a weak, loser sheep that listens to your nagging wife and does whatever she wants. And your family and children should be the same. Sheep raising sheep for the sake of making other men richer. That's what they want for you. And if you don't listen to this advice, that's what you'll be. And you'll be that forever, hopelessly blind to the fact that you were always just a tool for them.
Excuse that was put out by the big tech companies.
Excuse being the key word.
Well, it may be, actually. You know, I intrinsically, I have a problem with censorship. I don't think Donald Trump should be banned from Twitter, for example, because the Ayatollah of Iran remains on Twitter and other social media platforms. And whatever I think of you, you're not the Ayatollah of Iran, right? So to me, there's got to be perspective here. And I don't understand the inconsistency by...
I agree entirely. He's just saying, men, don't be weak losers. But apparently that's ban-worthy. But literally cutting people's heads off and being extremists, being against certain religions and wanting to kill all of them, that's fine. You see? There's a little difference between those two things.
What companies like Twitter, how they treat the leader of Iran, and someone like you. It seems to me they're much more draconian on people like you than they are with people who perhaps should not be allowed platforms. But generally, I don't really agree with no platforming people. But I think what's interesting talking to you is it seems to me like you have gone on a bit of a journey of self-awareness about the impact of some of the stuff you said in the past, and you have said you wouldn't say it again in the same way. Now, you may not want to express regret for that, but it shows me that at the very least, you have evolved to somebody who recognizes that these can be quite damaging in the way that you said them.
Completely. As a professional and as an adult, it would be stupid for me to sit here and say that now that I'm the most famous man on the planet, my words do not have more impact than they did before. With impact, with power comes responsibility, and things need to be worded in a very careful way. Now, when I do a long format interview, I have to sit there and consciously understand that any 10 seconds of that can be cut and used against me. So I have to be a lot more careful with how I say my words and how I construct my sentences. Of course, we agree with all of that. That's exactly what's happened to me. I agree with all of that. I don't want to be seen as a negative influence in the world. I know that there's a whole bunch of men. I get thousands of emails a week from men whose lives I've saved. I get thousands of emails a week from men who are on the verge of suicide and I've saved their lives. We're talking about...
And by the way, I don't dispute that at all. You have almost certainly, I would think, from everything I've read about you, I think you have certainly been probably able to be very helpful to young men who have really struggled for self-confidence and all that kind of thing, right?
Completely.
I'm completely prepared to accept that. But there was also, I think, quite a disturbing piece that BuzzFeed did. And it talked about the negative impact of young, impressionable male minds when they've read or seen some of the more inflammatory things you've said. And they quoted, for example, Sandy, 22, from Washington. My father's gone from a man who minored in women's studies in college, who was kind and in touch with his emotions, treated all people, men and women around him, with kindness, to a man who says that whenever he sees an effeminate male stranger, he gets an overwhelming urge to murder them. He loves podcasts. He listens to a lot of podcasts. I know he's listened to Andrew Tate.
So why is Andrew at fault for that? That's not Andrew's fault. That's like, have you heard that song by Eminem? You know, where he says, like, the next time you assault a guy, just tell the judge it was my fault and I'll get sued, you know, because I make the rap that guy listened to. Like, that's ridiculous, right? People they have agency over their own actions. So it's actually insane, right? Like, Andrew's not responsible for this guy's actions. He's responsible for his own actions. Who's the greater fool? The fool or the fool who follows him?
Whoa. Let's stop for a second. Let's be professional here, Piers, because you're a professional as am
Yeah.
I. First, she said, did you say that my father went? She said, my father has
Her
gone.
father.
That's a full-grown man, firstly. So we're talking about my impact on children. You just talked about a full-grown man here. Secondly, I've never talked about murdering effeminate men in anything online ever, in any context
Literally,
ever.
yeah.
So I don't know why they have taken some random person I've never met in the world who's full-grown, an adult, and come to their own conclusions who I've never met and lumped his name in with mine. That is absolutely unfair on every level.
It's a character attack. Exactly.
I didn't read this
What is your
BuzzFeed.
view?
I didn't read this BuzzFeed article, but after hearing the first point, I know it's trash. That is complete garbage.
What
to
is
sit
your-
and say
what
that
is your
I'm the
view?
reason this man believes what he believes.
I've
That is
seen a
disgusting.
quote from you, and you can tell me what you feel here about this.
Sure.
You talk about people don't want to see men dressed up in dresses. Transgender.
That's
people.
not exactly what I said.
What did you say?
I said the reason I am so popular and I'm so famous is that there's a large contingent of men who don't want to wear makeup, who still want to make money, go to the gym, be strong, drive a fast car, be traditionally masculine, and don't want to be shamed for that, and they don't want to be called toxic for that. That is the reason I'm so massively famous. That is what I said.
What do you think of transgender people?
That's nothing to do with me. I'm not transgender, and I don't understand the issue like they do. They
Are
can
you
do whatever.
transphobic? Do you consider yourself that?
Transphobic? What? Afraid?
Well, it-
Okay, let's stop it there. Piers is trying to catch Andrew in like he's like, okay, this I'm trying to probe the armor, trying to attack this way. That didn't work. Okay, let's take a new tact. We gotta change tact. We gotta poke at a different part of his armor. Alright, we're gonna end the video there. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit all for notifications, drop me a donation like Hunter M, Adrian, Tom, and Bobby Dylan, Renaissance Preston, Brian, shout outs to you, most recent Patreon subscriber, thank you. If you'd like coaching, message me at theheliosblog@gmail.com. I'll slot you right in. Buy my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. And of course, my Patreon can be found at patreon.com/theheliosblog. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you listen to the end. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.